Ever felt like a battery, drained at 10% per minute, while everyone else seems to have a limitless power source? If so, your internal architecture might be fundamentally different. Neuroscience finally has the data to prove it. You aren't malfunctioning. You are actually optimized for a frequency most people can't even tune into. Think of it this way. You are a high-precision telescope, forced to work in a room full of strobe lights and fireworks. Your system is straining to see the stars, while the world is just trying to dazzle you with glare. Ever walked into a high-energy gathering? Felt like the air itself was vibrating with too much data? The overlapping voices feel like a physical weight on your shoulders. The frantic movements around you are blurring into a dizzying smear of motion. And there's this mounting pressure in your skull that screams for an exit. You look at the crowd. They look energized. They're thriving, shouting, connecting. But you're standing there like a frozen frame in a fast-forward movie, calculating the shortest route to the door. Here's the reality. You aren't flawed. You aren't a misanthrope, and you aren't difficult. Your mind is simply digitizing the world with a much higher resolution. Know what's crazy? Most people think this is a weakness, a bug. But, looking at the science, it might actually be your greatest superpower. Truly. Let's get into it. Number 5. Your nervous system is a high-performance engine running far too many background tasks. Most people have a mental umbrella that deflects the rain of daily chaos. But you are standing there without one, feeling every cold drop hit your skin with the force of a stone. These people walk into a crowd. Their brain says, "Fine, ignore the screaming toddler, ignore the siren outside." But your brain? It captures every single frame. Ultra-high definition. Full sensory immersion. Researchers call this sensory processing sensitivity. Your mind doesn't just observe the environment, it absorbs it. Every half-finished sentence, every subtle frown, every shift in the room's temperature. It's trying to catch a waterfall in a teacup, while everyone else stands in a light drizzle. No wonder you're fried after 30 minutes at a wedding. The data is clear. Highly sensitive individuals analyze environmental cues with significantly more intensity. Your neurons are literally pulling a double shift while others are on cruise control. That mental burnout? It's not laziness. It's your brain finishing a triathlon while everyone else is taking a light stroll. And here's the part they don't tell you. This hyper-attunement is why our species survived. While the rest of the tribe ignored the subtle snap of a twig, people like you sensed the predator first. Your sensitivity isn't a bug in the code. It's an evolutionary masterstroke that kept the human race alive. You aren't too sensitive. You are calibrated exactly right. But here is the real twist. This isn't a flaw. It's a high-level capability that most people simply don't have the hardware to run. Number 4. It isn't the presence of people that depletes you. It's the absence of authenticity. Let's be real. Crowds aren't just a sensory nightmare. They are an emotional tax. In large groups, people start performing. The hollow laughter, the rehearsed, "I'm great,"
The entire theater of pretending everything is perfect when it clearly isn't. And you?
You can detect that insincerity from across the street. You pick up on the micro-tremors in a voice, the tension in a forced smile, the way someone's energy contradicts their words. You don't hate humans. You hate the script. You hate the shallow chatter that leads nowhere. Small talk is navigating a vast ocean in a cardboard boat. It's flimsy, exhausting, and keeps you from ever reaching the depths where the real treasure lies. Experts call this social masking fatigue. It's the reason you'd trade a dozen loud parties for one genuine conversation at 3 a.m. Your mind is starving for substance, not background noise. And in a culture obsessed with the superficial, that makes you dangerously rare. Findings from major universities suggest a pattern. Those who avoid large social gatherings often possess higher emotional intelligence. Translation? You aren't socially inept. You are socially discerning. You don't need 100 contacts. You need 3 real souls. That isn't being antisocial. That's being wise. For you, being alone isn't about isolation. It's about integrity. It is the only space where you don't have to edit, filter, or minimize yourself just to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Moving on to number 3. Your neurochemistry is fundamentally distinct. This is where the science gets fascinating. Researchers have mapped it out. Introverts have a different relationship with dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. When extroverts engage with a crowd, their brains throw a party. They feel fueled, electrified, unstoppable. But your brain? It releases significantly less dopamine in high-stimulation environments. Instead, you get flooded. It's your brain's way of saying, "System overload, exit immediately." Return to base. That is why, after a major social event, you don't feel pumped. You feel like a delicate piece of electronics that's been plugged into a high-voltage power line. The surge doesn't power you up. It just blows your fuses. Here is the secret. Your brain prioritizes acetylcholine instead. This is a neurotransmitter that rewards deep introspection, quiet focus, and calm. While extroverts need the external world to feel alive, you need the internal world to access your brilliance. You aren't avoiding people. You're just chemically optimized for depth over distraction. Scientists at Harvard found that introverted brains actually have a higher density of gray matter in the prefrontal cortex, the region linked to complex thought. So, when you're sitting in silence doing nothing, your brain is actually doing everything. You aren't killing time. You are synthesizing life at a level most people never even touch. That isn't seclusion. That is incubation. And that is why you feel most vibrant in the quiet stretches. Driving late at night, a bookstore at opening hour, a walk through the woods where the only rhythm is your own heartbeat. Those moments aren't empty. They are where your mind finally gets to breathe. Number 2. You are an emotional lightning rod. And that is a gift, not a curse. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly knew the vibe was toxic? Even if everyone was grinning, you could feel the underlying friction.
the hidden resentment, the heavy cloud hanging over the table. That's because people who shy away from crowds often possess hyper-empathy. Your mirror neurons are firing at a much higher rate. Think about a crowded mall. You aren't just managing your own feelings. You are a human sonar system.
Where the pings are coming back so fast and so dark that the screen is just one big blur of other people's pain. It's like being a high-gain antenna that picks up every frequency at the same time. No wonder you want to leave. But here is the beauty of it. This makes you one of the most perceptive people in any room. You understand the human condition on a level others can't see. You look past the masks. You hear what isn't being said. And that is an incredible rarity. Number 1. You aren't hiding from life. You are guarding your peace. Our society is obsessed with the loud, the busy, the constantly connected. If you aren't at every event, people label you as boring or stuck up. But here is the truth they won't admit. Choosing tranquility over chaos is a radical act of courage. You've realized that while the world is busy screaming into the wind, silence is actually a deep well, where you are the only one with the bucket long enough to reach the clear water at the bottom. It's full of clarity, vision, self-discovery. Your solitude isn't about being lonely. It's about being connected to yourself. It's where your sharpest thoughts are born and where your most authentic life happens. You aren't missing the party. You are opting out of a game that wasn't built for your hardware. And that takes serious guts. So, the next time someone asks why you're so quiet, just give them a smile. Because, honestly, you've already found what they're still screaming to find. They don't realize that while they are staring at the flickering shadows on the wall, you have turned around and are looking directly at the sun. You see the depth. You feel the resonance. And in a world that never stops shouting, your stillness is a revolution. You aren't broken. You are just built for a different purpose. You aren't a flickering candle in a storm. You are the lighthouse, fixed, powerful, and built to shine specifically because the weather is so rough. And that is exactly what the world is missing. So tell me, are you someone who feels suffocated by crowds? Or do you thrive in the noise?